on at night. But today I get to do the Panhandle Gator Club show with my good friend Rob Dotson, who's here today. Good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning to you, Rob. Good to see you
Good
again.
morning.
Yeah. So we're ready to go here. We're going to have a good show today. I want to tell you folks, as people are just looking at their computers saying, what is this all about? And joining us, we invite you to join us, especially those with interest in the Panhandle. We're doing a lot more shows now up here in the Panhandle. If you don't know where it is, look up on the map. Google it. It's there. And Rob is a he's a board member now for the Panhandle Gator Club, and he's one of the founders of the club. And so he's been very helpful in helping us get started here. And we got a special show today. We've got Jay Moody. All right. Who knows who Jay Moody is? Well, if you lived up here, you ought to know because he's been here forever. I think his family came with the dinosaurs. I mean, he's been here a long, long time. And he's also happens to be the son-in-law of Steve Spurrier. Or as he says, Steve calls him his favorite son-in-law. He's only got one. So Jay will join us here in about 15 minutes. Talk about this show is designed to talk about all college football, all college sports, everything in the Panhandle, Big Bend, South Georgia, South Alabama area. And we want to touch still on some things like high school football. Big game last night, high school football. We're going to break it down. Rob Dotson is going to tell us all about Mosley and what happened and the great educate me on the tradition. And then our good friend Rob, too, as we call him, Rob Brown, who's been coming down here every year for 80-something years to visit, who knows a lot about this area. He's up in Memphis. He'll join us again today, and we'll catch up on all those things. And we'll take a break, come right back, and we'll be started with the program right on our Panhandle Gator Club show, and hope you'll come log on and be a part of it. You can make your comments here. You can listen. You can make notes. Hope you keep coming back because we love having you. Meanwhile, since we don't have the music available because our sponsor, our producer's busy, we'll go ahead and play the Buddy Martin Show open, and you join us.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
All right, here we go. I'm trying to tell the people from Instacart how to get my groceries while I'm talking to you, Rob, on the air. Let me finish my conversation with this lady. Yeah, just come right up through the elevator doors and come to the second floor and go to Unit 217, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Isn't Instacart great?
It is when you can get it. I've got, again, weird things happening. I've been ordering from them for, I don't know, since they started. I've literally spent thousands of dollars there and do continually order every week, except somehow my membership got lost. And I literally have been trying for 2 months. I've spent 30 calls easily in 15 hours trying to get it restored. Still don't have it. I got this one jury-rigged. Story for another time. Let's talk about more pleasant things.
Cocktail party weekend. Strange things happen.
Yeah, how about that? We're going to call it the world's largest cocktail party because, the reason it's so politically incorrect. Cocktail parties are not just for drinking. If you want to drink, fine. If you don't want to drink. There are lots of people, as I was talking to Shane Matthews, who go to cocktail parties who never drink.
Yes.
You drink or don't drink. That's up to you. The point is the cocktail party is a party to gather and celebrate college football in Florida-Georgia weekend. It's always been a tremendous event, sociologically, whatever. I used to have a friend who lived right there in Ponte Vedra on the beach, and we would go out on during the week. I would go stay with them, and we would go walk up and down Ponte Vedra Boulevard and stop at houses, apartments, Georgia and Florida, where you mix and mingle, and it's just a celebration. It's a tremendous sociological event and college football event. So let's get to the heart of this show. I want you to take a note here, all you folks listening, all 1,000 of you now listening. And remember, this show will be on every other Friday. For now, maybe longer if you like it. Every other Friday, it'll be on again 2 weeks from now. And we will feature things particularly in the Panhandle area, since this is the Panhandle Gator Club show, sponsored by Rob Dodge's club, and we appreciate that. And we have another very fine sponsor we want to immediately get on and talk about. And then we're going to talk about the craziness that happened in Gainesville this weekend, last night, Halloween weirdness. I can't believe that Tennessee hired the backup coach at Florida. I mean, it's crazy. But let's go, just don't do it too crazy. Let's go ahead and talk about our good friends at Rocket Lanes and the sponsor of this show, Rob.
Absolutely. Rocket Lanes, where come get social at Rocket Lanes. I mean, the place is fantastic. They have 24 bowling lanes, an 8,000 square foot skating rink, 16,000 square feet of an arcade. While the kids are playing, adults could go back and enjoy a cold beverage at their upscale sports bar, and grab a bite. I mean, Buddy's been there. He's gotten lost. The place.
I did. It's so big. I literally got lost.
Yeah. So just let your kids go. They can have a good time, enjoy the sports bar, watch some games. The Rocket Lanes is the host of the Panhandle Gator Club. So join fellow Gators and friends at the Gator game watching parties each week, watching them on one of their many TV screens, and enjoy their Saturday beer bucket special. So come get social at Rocket Lanes, 513 North Richard Jackson Boulevard, Panama City Beach, in the shops of Edgewater across from Edgewater Beach Resort.
All right, my friend, let's do this while I communicate with the people at Instacart. Would you summarize, if you will, before we get into the whole Halloween weirdness in Florida, Georgia? Last night, there was a big football game. And
Yes,
Jay Moody's going to join us. Jay Moody's going to be with us in just a minute.
I believe Jay was there, too.
He was. He and his wife, Amy, were there. So big win for Mosley.
It sure is. Basically, Mosley defeated Florida High, which is a Tallahassee school, another big powerhouse in the Panhandle, defeated them 26-17 to continue in their 8-game winning streak. If those of you who have been around, last year in week 11, Mosley lost to Florida High. That spoiled Mosley's undefeated season. So last night, the first play of the game, Florida High had a turnover. First play, they called it a backwards pass, which it was. Mosley then scores immediately, but it misses the point after to go ahead 6-0. The next series, Florida High turnover on downs leads to a Mosley 52-yard pass for a touchdown to go up 13-0. Florida High finally drives and scores to make it 13-7, but Mosley only needed 3 plays to respond, running it in to score at 19-7. And finally, at halftime, Florida High was able to score on a 4th down pass at the end of the half, making the score 19-17 at halftime. Now, the second half was back-to-back, back and forth for until the fourth quarter, when Mosley scored once again to make the final score 26-17. Mosley now is 9-1 for the season and is awaiting postseason seeding.
All right, so catch us up, and Jay will be joining us in just a minute. A little bit about people who don't know the history of Big Bend football. Now, I do know way back, because a friend of mine used to be coach up here in Panama City, and they've had some great teams. It's changed a little bit in recent years. Talk about a little bit about the powerhouses. The regular season's over now, and we're into the playoffs. Talk about the layers of the landscape of high school football.
Well, Bay County and the Walton County, all the way up through the Panhandle, has several schools through the years that have been powerhouses. in the Bay County area, Panama City, you have Rutherford, Arnold, Mosley. I'm probably missing a couple. Not growing up in the area, I'm not as familiar with them. But then you get over to Pensacola and Milton. There's several high schools. I mean, Emmett Smith came from high school up in this area, in the Milton area. So it's been a powerhouse for years, particularly in the 3A classification. I believe that's where Mosley is, if I'm correct. Jay can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But football, high school football in this area is strong. And then you have basically a southeast area, and then the Tampa Bay area, Jacksonville area. So you have some areas in the state that have kind of concentrations of powerhouses. But Mosley has been one of the more consistent, along with Florida High, up here in the Panhandle here lately. So they're carrying it on. Like I said, they're 9-1 again. Last year they were undefeated until they lost to Florida High. So they made the playoffs. They did lose in the first round of the playoffs last year. So see how they do in postseason this year.
Yeah, we want to keep up with stuff like that. There will be. By the way, don't we have a pitcher going to the University of Florida to play baseball?
Yes, it was. He's Moss.
Moss. Good looking about here. The reason I ask is that Florida doesn't have a baseball coach.
They're down 2 coaches, kind of. Sully's on a leave of absence, a personal leave of absence, the head coach. And the interim head coach that was just named last year just got pulled to University of Tennessee as an associate head coach.
Roman,
That's, so we're
I've never heard of a guy actually being hired before you coached a game.
Really. I mean, season starts Monday. I mean, that's how close to the season it is.
Well, actually, there's a game tonight.
Well, I'm sorry, it is. It starts tonight. Basketball starts Monday.
Yeah, basketball's a whole other deal. So, so it's a lot of stuff, crazy stuff. Moses, you said, won 26-17, finished 9-1. Now, I want to talk about this Thursday night deal. I've been around a while, and I've seen this Halloween stuff happen for many, many moons. I mean, I've been covering college sports for almost 60 years, so I've seen a few. And this stuff seems to happen every year on this week when they're playing Florida, Georgia, and it's Halloween related. There have been some weird things. Let me just tell you a couple of quick things, not related to football, but some kind of weirdness takes over, like I told you. Like when I tried to go in the store yesterday, they asked the guy for some help, and he said no. And then people acting abruptly and rude and, whatever. Even a great bunch of nurses on my floor at the hospital where my wife is have been fantastic. And they were a pain in the butt last night. So I don't know. Stuff happens in my life. Maybe not in yours and maybe not in Jay Moody's. But let's go find out because Mr. Moody is back on. Where'd you go, Jay? Let's see where he went. He was right there. There he is. And here he is again. Jay, like I said, his family came here with the dinosaurs. So go ahead and take that while I answer this phone. Say hello to Jay.
Is that my opening? Go ahead, Rob.
Rob.
I know Rob.
I kind of gave a quick summary of the game, but you were there. Tell us about it.
Which tell me, I didn't hit that one. I just popped on. I didn't catch it. It blurred. What game? Which game are we talking about?
Mosley Florida High game last night.
Mosley last night.
I understand you were at the game.
We were. My wife and I went. I get your buddy on it. A little bit of a chilly night for Bay County. Not normal. And they played Florida High, and it was a very good game. I tell you that both teams. Sometimes you go to those high school games and it's a little tough to watch. They're high school kids. They're making mistakes, but both teams were executing pretty well and mostly looked good. They let Florida High come back right at halftime, but then they finished them off in the second half and scored and held them scoreless. So Mosley's 9-1, so they're riding high into the playoffs. Looking good. They had some good players on that team too. Really looked good.
Yeah, I watched the highlights last night. Scott Rossman's a Florida Gator that does the sports on
which one? Either WKC or
Channel 7. Channel 7. I think that's MBB. But I listened to him catch some of the highlights. It looked like a really close game, particularly, halftime they were back and forth, but come the second half, it appeared third quarter, they were just, beating each other up and nobody got to score.
They were. It was a defensive battle in the second half. We actually, to be totally honest, Amy said, I'm going to have to trust that Mosley finished this one off. It was cold. It was cold and blowing. And so we got home at a decent hour and trusted them to finish it off. But no, it was a great game, good atmosphere. I love going to high school football. You see, it's casual. You see a lot of friends. Our kids are all out of high school. I'm a Bay High grad, which is, the long-serving high school in Bay County, and all my kids are traders. They all went to Mosley, so we've turned into Mosley people. And we live in Lynn Haven. For Buddy's sake, that's sort of the north part of town.
I know right where it is. My stepson, the sheriff, lives there.
The sheriff is there. Tommy lives up there, and anyway, so we're sort of the North Bay part of town, and that's Mosley territory. My grandfather. Father, mother, everybody went to Bay High. That was the big school, growing up, and sort of slowly we're now up to 5 high schools. Bozeman and Bay play tonight. As a matter of fact, Bozeman's is the newest high school of all 5, and Bay High is 8-1, and they're probably favored in that game tonight. So they're going to the playoffs, and they're the only team to beat Mosley. So that was a little bit of an upset, I think, earlier in the year. At least people thought it was. But
good stuff. Yeah,
two teams to follow here in Bay County going to the playoffs. So excited about that. My little side story, I asked if I could tell it, is we know the Fleming family pretty well. I don't know, Rob, if you know Robert Fleming well. He's a big Gator in town, and Buddy, all 3 of his boys. Robert, his oldest son, was an offensive tackle at Duke. Ryan was a linebacker. Ryan Fleming was a linebacker at Georgia in the mid-90s. And then you remember Reed Fleming played for Coach Spurrier in the late 2000s, and then for Coach Zook as he finished his career at Florida. So all 3 of his boys were D1. And then Robert, his son, Wyatt Fleming's on Mosley. So we always enjoy, and he wears number 11. He plays defense and wears number 11. So we always like to watch him flying around out there, and somebody to pull for. He goes to our church. So,
when did you go to Bay High?
I graduated in 1988, which seems like about 15 years ago, but it's not. So I was fall 88 to Florida and spring 88 graduating Bay High School. And at that time, it was only Bay High, Rutherford, and Mosley. And then we added the Beach kids used to always come to Bay High. They've now have their own high school, which Arnold has been around now, Rob, since 95. It's unfortunately, I think of it as a new school, but it's been around since the 90s. All the kids from the Beach had a high school to go to. And then now we've got a high school for where we're growing north of Lynn Haven, which is Southport and upwards, that is now Bozeman. So we're blowing up in population, buddy. I don't know if you're noticing.
Yeah.
I'll never complain about traffic because I did live in Orlando for 4 years.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I never worry about traffic. That's nothing compares to it.
Well, you can't blame people wanting to live in paradise.
It is. It's. I'm afraid our secret's getting out. That's the old school people are kind of happy about all the development. I'm on the economic development alliance, and sometimes I'm like, well, they're all figuring this out, and they're coming in droves. They are.
And can you help me out with some roads being finished around here, for crying out loud? It's good grief.
Well,
I think we lead the world in unfinished roads.
I think that's a little bit of a problem everywhere. We always 2-lane when we need a 4-lane, and 4-lane when we 6-lane, and they just stay under constant construction.
There you go. That's right. Just a question. Do you ever remember hearing about a guy named Coach Register?
Coach Register.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of registers in Bay County. I'm not sure which one that is.
Well, this guy was a state championship coach from Stark who came here back. I'm talking way back in like the 60s, and 70s. And I don't know whatever happened. No, he had some great teams.
Yeah, that may have predated me.
Well, it probably did. I'm looking, but everything I do predates you.
Yeah, so well, not totally. No, we've covered the same ground. We were long-suffering Gator fans in the my first memories are 70s of the Gators.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the suffering we're doing right now. My gosh, what in the world is going on here? I said earlier before you came on, this is like Halloween Eve weirdness, which seems to happen every year at this time. Obviously, Halloween, not exactly the same day, it changes. But the deal is, it seems like I've covered so many stories of crazy things that happened on Florida Georgia weekend. Just seems like something. Now we have a situation where not only are we looking for a football coach, is we won't even go there because who knows what Lane Kiffin is going to do. Now, after the governor of Louisiana got involved in that, why would he want to go to LSU, who, by the way, is without a president, a coach, I think, and an AD now? They got fired.
Yes.
Talk about.
I did. Yes. Yesterday, the AD's gone.
Yeah. Tim Brando was a broadcaster there and talked about how bad Florida was a week ago and said, why would you want to go there? You see, it's toxic. Toxic. I think LSU just redefined the word of toxic,
Well, I went on. It's funny. I rarely kind of respond to that, but I said I always thought a lot of Tim Brando. Enjoy listening to him when he's covering a game, and I just responded. I said, Tim, it doesn't even feel. It sounds like there's somebody else answering your Twitter. He just was so over the top with how toxic Gator fans were. Yeah. I was like, well, that's everybody. I don't think we're acting any different than any other Southeastern football fan base, and I really felt like, Scott Strickland and them hung in there with Billy Napier, a long time. It wasn't like they folded the tent right away, and there was a lot of stuff out. So anyway, I don't think we acted any more odd, and then LSU sort of trumped us on that. It wasn't hard to tell where that governor was from, was it? You didn't even have to see him online. You just listen to him and say, I don't know who the governor of LSU, Louisiana is.
But that ought to be him right there. Yeah, Longhorn, Fagor. What is it? What is that? Whatever that is.
He was changing for sure.
Yeah, and so that was one thing that happened. There's several others. Of course, the baseball situation with Sully being on leave, and now his backup being hired at Tennessee before he coaches the game. And there is a football game tomorrow at 3:30, which is kind of special and has been. I don't know. There's some Gators I know who have an inkling. I'm not quite there yet. Have an inkling. This is another opportunity for Florida. And by the way, let me just say a word for the fact that I like who they got as interim coach. I think Billy Gonzalez is a stand-up guy. He has a link to the heritage of championships. He's been a terrific guy. I love his humility. When they asked him, is he going to be parking in the coach's spot? And he said, no, that out of respect for Coach Napier, I won't do that. And he sits at the same chair. He's the same. And I kind of like it. This is where I want to bring you in, Jay. Some of the things that are going on with the play calling now. Mm-hmm. And what's brother to you? Your cousin? Your son?
No, that's my brother-in-law.
I know. I couldn't think of what he was to you. But so he now is going to have a voice in this, which I said quite some time ago with Shane Matthews and I, gosh, the problems they're having calling plays. And of course, everybody knows Billy is well documented. He thinks he's, a mastermind play caller, but he's not. He's average. And that's part of the problem. And now to have the input of these other two guys and have Bubba as the on the field guy relaying human to human information, because I got all this gear, we may see some different stuff, Jay.
It could happen. I mean, you don't put it past it. We've all seen stranger things happen. At least Billy Gonzalez has been around it a long time. He knows the Gator. I think he was a good choice, at least for the Gator fans. We're like, okay, let's don't mix the play calling with the head coach, and that's a good chance for him to be the head coach interim wise and let them call plays. And seemed to be the number one complaint about what was going on before. So, maybe something fresh. And sometimes, what was that? Was it Bull Durham, losing sort of like a sickness? And sometimes you just need to change something up and flush it, and then maybe get a fresh start. And it'll be important probably to get off to a good start. Hopefully we just we get out there and mix it up, and then they realize, hey, nothing's really. It's still our team, and these guys, they get 4 years to do this, and it doesn't matter what's going on with your coaching. You only get so many times you get to run out there and play the other team. So
good point.
Play for the patch, I think, is that little term's been going around.
That's Billy Gonzalez's favorite saying. Play for the patch.
Well, you can tell Gators in his heart. I mean, you really can. And he's been not consecutive, but this is his 12th year as a coach at Florida throughout his career. So, like I said, when he starts talking about playing for Patch, you can just see the heart come out with him, and his press conference to me was just impressive. I mean, it just wasn't impressive. It sounded like a seasoned head coach talking. For him to say what he's going to say about opening up the playbook. I think he was trying not to say we've been kind of predictable, but he more or less said we're going to open the playbook up. We're going to let the team play, and he's going to get them excited. I think we're going to see an excited Gator team. I mean, we've got the manpower to play against Georgia. Can we do it? I guess we'll see. And Billy's going to be the man we'll find out with.
Yeah, I thought he got some good advice I saw Urban Meyer say the first when, I guess, because that was obviously when he was a young coach, he was all under Urban, said, don't disparage whatever you think, don't disparage the prior group. And you kind of feel like he was being very careful with his words and trying to, this isn't about who was right or wrong. Let's just do it different, or let's do something else,
Yeah, and Coach G did say his first call was Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm. Smart call.
I mean, to talk and get some advice. And yeah, absolutely. So, I'm excited. I mean, be honest. I mean, I know there's a lot of names out there for replacement coaches and stuff. And, Kiffin appears to be the top of the board. And, there's a few others. I don't think I'd be disappointed if Billy G was appointed. That we didn't.
Well, you'd like to think he'd make the carryover if he could. That'd be wonderful if he could. But that depends on the head coach. You just don't know. If it's Kiffin, he's going to have his own people. In a perfect world, you'd like to see Gonzalez carried over there somehow if he could. I think he's handled himself with a great deal of class. He's been kind of the glue that held things together. And I'm anxious to see how DJ Lagway responds to this. And hopefully he's a little better physically, but they've got to throw the deep ball. And I know Bubba knows about that. You got to throw the deep ball. You got to stretch the defense. Now, I love one thing Gonzalez said in his sort of just a comment. Let's spread it out. Let's spread it out. And that's what because often this offense seems to get too tight end oriented. I know they like to run the football, which you have to do. But Coach Spurrier ran the football. People think he was a fun and gun guy. If you look at his record, he was a 50-50 guy. He ran it as much as he threw it, and it has been documented. So I really hope that to see some more of that flair. There's something missing either in the execution or the motivation or something. And like you said, sometimes, Jay, you just need to change.
Yeah, just change up. So I think that was Coach Spurrier said that at the beginning of the year, even when everything was intact, is do something different. Whatever. If it's not where it's sort of that George Costanza way in life, if everything is doing wrong, do the opposite just for the heck of it. Go against your instinct if you believe your instincts or if the proof is coming out wrong.
We had two teams that came out after the game and that we lost to. And two teams said, we knew the play as soon as they got lined up because it was so predictable that, I mean, what was it? Handoff up the middle, like 90% of the time?
Yeah, I'm not being a football coach. I don't know if I'm qualified to, but you as a fan, seeing lots of football played, you just didn't feel like it was all in sync all the time. We'd look unbeatable 1 minute and completely beatable the next, and the players out there look pretty good. They look like players we've seen win. The whole interim coach, we are the I guess sort of Galen Hall. That's exactly what he did. Now he had a stacked team. I think in talking to some of the coaches said, well, they probably could have thrown the CPA for the university out there and called. We had a very, very good team. But what he do? He won all his games, and they're like, how you fire a guy that wins the rest of his game? This is our guy, and keep the team together. So
very true. And well, listen. We hope you'll come back on with us a lot. We really would like to have you back on every 2 weeks or whenever you're available in those days. And I look forward to it. And by the way, just let me give Amy a little credit. She did an amazing job of getting her dad motivated to do that restaurant. And without her, it would never have gotten done. She's probably never gotten the credit she deserved for that. But she's always, I remember when Steve was saying, well, we need to get someplace to put all my stuff. He's got stuff everywhere. I've been in the house at the beach house where he opened the closet
back there.
Yeah, closet.
We walk off with a lot of it.
Yeah, closet door open, and he had a windbreaker for every season of the Gators right there, and that's amazing. But thank you, Jay, so much. In regards to Amy, and we'd love to have you back. So,
well, shout out to Rob. Rob does a great job with the Panhandle Gator Club. He really does. It's not as easy as it used to be, is it, Rob? It used to be it was part of the head coach's job to have to come every year to every Gator Club around there. So he does a good job of keeping us all in the loop and bringing some people like James Bates, people want to hear talk, and he does a good job of keeping it together.
Well, thanks, Jay. And we're hoping to get France Beer over here for his book signing.
Oh, he'll be here. He'll be here for sure.
I'll let y'all, you professionals get after it. Y'all go. Thank you.
Listen, thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon, and my best to the family. And good luck to Gators this Saturday.
All right. Thanks, guys. See y'all. Go Gators.
All right. Go Gators and Jay Moody. And we just at the same time as we present our next sponsor, we'll bring in our other Rob. We got two of everything here. It's like Noah. We got this guy, this Rob as well. Hello, Rob. Hold it right there. Well, I get the QR code because you know who makes me do that, and I have to get back and tell you about our sponsors. Another fine one, one that if you're in the need of orthodontics, boy, oh boy, and when you need to know who to go to. My good friend Max Steen, former Gator, was over in DeLand. He was our orthodontist. But ours, we want to tell you about is right here. I'm going to get their QR code up right now and tell you about our friends at Prime, not Prime, Prime Orthodontics. Prime. And I always thought they ought to have somebody called Prime Time, But Rob, you can help tell us about Prime if you want to fix your smile. They've been doing it for quite some time, and they're one of our co-sponsors here. They're located in a couple of places. They'll take care of your needs in terms of any kind of braces and stuff. And they're good people. And Rob, I know you know them.
I do. I said my grandson just got braces from the Prime Orthodontics, where like I said, they can make it happen with braces or clear aligners. They have an expert team that combines some cutting edge technology with personalized care, all in a friendly, comfortable environment. So call Prime Orthodontics today or visit them online to book your complimentary consultation. They have two locations, 3308 West Highway 390 in Panama City and 10,800 Panama City Beach Parkway, Unit 400, Panama City Beach. Prime Orthodontics, where confident smiles begin.
Look at that guy smiling there. What's up, Rob?
Hey, all right, man, what a wild morning. God, it's just crazy, the football world we live in right now. And
my head's still spinning.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is the least bit surprised by what's happening. But having 11 coaches already fired this early in the season, we had Dave Bartu on the morning show today, and that's 22 new. You got to replace that guy, and then the guy that replaces him's got to be replaced. So that's 22. So remember, multiply times 2. And look at Florida, and I'm just looking at that job. 500,000 living alumni. Your demographics are your future. There's a lot of people that care about Florida football. It's a big fan base. And, if it's Lane Kiffin or if it's John Summerall, who knows who it is. But all this talk about coaching jobs is John Summerall and Tulane just get bushwhacked last night. I don't think anybody saw that coming, which tells me his mind is not focused. It's like trying to study with the TV on.
I didn't know that about Summerall. I've been busy. Didn't hear that. My gosh, he was a hot guy at one point in time. People wanted to hire him to go to bigger and better jobs.
Yeah, he should have been the North Carolina coach last year. From what I heard, they lowballed him, and he said, "I'm out." And then they got Belichick for a lot more than they offered, and it's not working out.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys chat for a second. I gotta go answer the front door. But Rob and Rob, the Rob and Rob show. And while we're doing that, let's also be sure and tell folks about your show, Rob. Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, we are blessed beyond belief, and we got the best executive producer on the planet, Francis Wilton Martin. That's Buddy's real name. I love it. But we've got Brendan. Brendan Martin is our executive producer. There's no one better on the planet. But we do it Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. Central. Go all over the SEC. It's like having 16 children. Got to love them all. And, of course, we got, I'm an Auburn grad, full disclosure. Brendan, they got GatorBaitMedia.com, but we cover the whole conference. And you ain't going to find a channel like what we've got here with better coverage on the SEC. And in this, Florida, you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Buddy and Franz and Lauren and the crew, and then this Panhandle show. Are you Panhandle Rob? That is that you that comes in on the show in the morning? Okay, I love that
is
name.
Me. I try to catch your shows in the morning. I try
Thank
to
you.
catch the evening shows. I try to catch a bunch of these Buddy Martin shows.
I'm on this channel. I watch it so much. We did Gold to Go with Frank Duffy talking about LSU right after our show this morning. Scarborough knows, Lowdown with Lauren Meadows Tuesday nights. But you know what? I'm looking at Florida, Rob, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you've got everything in the world going for you. Texas has more money in their high school football. Florida has, in my opinion, better athletes because you got the best track and field programs in the high schools in the country. As an engineer, you know this. You can be big and strong, but speed work and coordination are everything. Hold on.
You're back at least. But dang dogs. But
yeah, here we go.
You're back.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. But the dog stepped on the wire. But you look at the state of Florida, and Shane Matthews talks about it, and other people. You don't have those $80 million stadiums and high school facilities, but you've got in Florida, you just got the best athletes in terms of size and speed in America. It's better than Texas, and it's better than California.
I absolutely agree. You look at the facilities. I mean, there's no doubt Texas A&M has all that oil money. Facilities are one thing, but like you said, bringing in great athletes, particularly in Florida, but in Southeast in general, these young kids, young adults. I mean, it's 12 months, 365 days a year that they're doing something. They don't have to pack it in a house when it's snow outside, although it did snow here in the Panhandle last year.
That was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
8 inches in Panama City, and had to replace the screen on my screen enclosure because it wasn't prepared for snow. But they have all year to play and practice and the camps and et cetera. So the athletes in Florida are great. And I'm not going to say Texas doesn't have them too, because they do. But it's a state where the kids grow up to be great.
Yeah, and I'm not. You're right, but track and field is your insurance policy for every sport you play. And if you are an athlete in the spring, a lot of schools now, more than you realize, don't do spring practice in high school. They want their guys doing track and field or lacrosse or both. There was a day when coaches would have you swim or wrestle in the off season. But you look at wrestlers and you look at athleticism now, because it's so hard to keep your depth on your team. Your depth now is at Indiana. It's at SMU. It's at the University of Memphis. It's not those second and third teamers as much as you used to have. So your top 44, you better make them as tough and grizzled and hard-assed as you can possibly make them. And, the new coach that comes into Florida, he's got a roster right now ranked 9th best in the country on the Blue Chip Index. That's the number of 4- and 5-star guys you get in a 4-year cycle. That's not nothing, as they say down here in the Panhandle. But it does matter. And then you got to get the right fit for the coach. But you've got money. You've got everything. The Gators have won 269 SEC championships in all sports. The closest school to that's Georgia with 149.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. When you put it all together, the all sports, not the SEC, the national.
The Sears Cup.
Florida has been in the top 7. If I recall, for like 30 straight years, the only school that has been in the top 7 for that long of a period, which shows it's not just football. It's football, basketball, track, swimming, volleyball, gymnastics, etc. From an all sports program, Florida, I hear about dynasties. Well, you can talk about a football dynasty or a basketball dynasty. Florida is an athletic department dynasty, in my opinion.
Oh, it is. And again, Mouse Holloway's won 14 national championships in track and field at Florida. And look at the Olympics, and you see all these SEC athletes coming out of there. But Lane Kiffin, I'm up here in Memphis. Money is. I was talking to Dave Bartu after the show today. Dave was in the coaching matrix. He does staffing for college and pro teams. He said it's always about the money. That's what always moves people. So we reported last week about the 6-year, $81 million offer on the table to Lane Kiffin. That's 13.5 a year. That can go up. It won't go down. But it all starts with Jimmy Sexton in Memphis, and he's bouncing around. Everybody in November gets a pay raise. But whoever Florida gets, and Buddy knows this way more than I do, he's got to be the right fit that fits that personality at Florida. But, man, you've had it. And when you get the right guy at Florida, everybody else is scrambling for oxygen. I mean, it is hard because they got 23 million people in that state, and people constantly moving in, and a lot of them can play ball.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Kiffin again and possibly come to Florida, it all will come down to, does he just want to enjoy the lifestyle he has at Mississippi, which is more of a laid back, it's the recruiting's a little harder because the state doesn't have as many recruits. And do you want to coach and be in front of 68,000, which is their record crowd there at the stadium, versus playing in front of 92,000? Do you want to scramble for recruiting a little bit, which he's done well, or do you want to come to Florida and then have more of a national and better recruiting? So, it's all going to depend on, I think, him and his family. I know his daughter went to Buchholz in Gainesville for a while, and of course, LSU and so on. But I think LSU has kind of popped the bubble. Politics.
That's a mess. I mean, what Frank Duffy said in the next water boy or whatever they call it, Bobby Boucher, the governor's got that role locked down.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the remaining minutes, we have the Rob and Rob show. Great. You guys are great together. You don't even need me.
Yeah, we do.
I wanted to go back to the ground level here and talk about Lane Kiffin and talk about the Florida Georgia game and talk about the coaching scene. Let's talk first about the latest thing. As you mentioned, the governor of Louisiana, we brought it up earlier. And we have a guy named Blind Squirrel, who's a huge fan of yours, Rob. We're going to get him on in a second. The point is that it's such a mess, we don't know what to know. But one thing I cling to is Shane Matthews telling me he's friends with the family. He knows them all. There's lots of little nuancing there with Knox, his son, who, by the way, had his second, I don't know how he did last night, but up till then, he had 2 straight wins and had his first win as a starter at Oxford High School and is loving it and has been quoted, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but online as saying, I ain't going to Gainesville. We'll see about that. So, and yet Shane Matthews says, I know the family. I know Lane wants to go there. I know he likes it. I think he'll go here. Then along came LSU. Well, wait a minute. Now here's a guy with a bigger boat, right? What's going to happen? Then the governor steps in and just makes a mess out of it. And the last thing I want as a coach is the governor tell me what to do, guys. So we got that to deal with. Let's do that, and let's talk about the Florida Georgia game. Go ahead, Rob 1 and Rob 2.
Well, I've been attending the Florida Georgia game since 1975, and out of those 50 years, I've probably missed no more than 5 or 6 games in those days. And it's been the last couple of years has been most of them. I did attend the game in Athens when we played up there and put the highest number of points on Georgia between the hedges. I guess the story goes that somebody asked Spur if he knew that I think it was 50 or something was a record. And I think the response was, watch this. And he scored another touchdown to make sure we put the most points between the hedges. So the game is a great game. The cocktail party, I got my party shirt on already.
Love it.
I lived in Jacksonville for about 5 years, and I can tell you the party starts on Tuesday. They talk about LSU getting tanked up the day of the game. Well, Florida Georgia fans, both sides, they start getting tanked up on Tuesday.
Well, say cranked up. Don't say tanked up. They get upset if you say that. Right?
Well, that's all right. I'm cranked up now.
I know you are. You stay cranked up, and sometimes tanked up. You never know. So, yeah. So I don't know if you have never been to one. I've had friends call me and say, I've never been to a Florida Georgia game. Should I go? Yeah. Why? Okay, go. They come back thinking, wow, I had no idea it was like that. Without going to all the things about one's colors on one side, red, and one blue on the other, all the things we know about. I'm just overwhelmed, Rob Brown, at the crazy things that happened on this game, the game week, and we just saw a bunch more of them. I don't know if it's Halloween spirit or what it is, but stuff happens, and look what happened. You mentioned Summerall. I didn't know he got fired. When's the last time a coach got fired without ever coaching a game? Got hired without ever coaching a game, or as baseball coach, and stuff is going on behind the scenes we don't even know about. Now, what do we think about it? I think Kiffin's still a good shot, but I'd never have bought into the idea that he would leave Knoxford. I don't know why. It's just I don't have any information. I just feel that way, that maybe he's found where he needs to be. But what do you guys think? Rob Brown, you go first.
I think he's really happy there, and I think but he's an enigma. He's hard to figure out. He does have a lot of respect for Steve Spurrier. I mean, there's a connection. I know his father-in-law, John Reeves, is one of the great quarterbacks in Florida history. There's a connection there. And at the same time, he's finished his Ole Miss teams in the last 4 years in the top 12 3 times. That hadn't happened since the early 60s. So that's been a long, long time. And he's got the Ole Miss people thinking they can believe with anybody. I've gone to a lot of games at Ole Miss, and they'll say, Brown, Auburn, y'all are like cannibals, man. Y'all want to fire the coach if you have a bad quarter, you know? And I said, yeah. And he said, we're happy with 6 or 7 wins and a great party. And I said, wait till you win 10 or 11 games one season. Once your mind goes from here to there, it will never reverberate back to this comfortably. And now they're experiencing that. And now they're coming up. And I said this on the show this morning. One of my Ole Miss friends that we have on the show, Yancey Porter, every week said the collective got a $10 and a $20 million check this past week from 2 different boosters and said, just use this however you need to use it, but keep Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So if anything, it's a fundraiser. And that's what happened 3 years ago when Kiffin and Auburn were playing footsie, and the Grove Collective exploded with over 11,000 members, and it just keeps growing. Florida got to get this coaching hire right, and you got to do it. But I like Dave Bartu's explanation. These great coaches are not out there like behind door number 3. This guy will win you 3 national championships. Behind door number 2, he'll win you 4. Door number 1, he'll win you 5. They just happen. But if you got Florida, Urban Meyer said, Buddy had him on the Best Fridays in football, and I was listening. And Urban Meyer said, we had perfect alignment when I was at Florida. You got to have perfect alignment.
The athletic director, the coach, all the way up and down.
Yeah. And you need to sit down and talk to Buddy Martin too. I mean, seriously, there's just certain patriarchs in journalism. It's a great idea. Remember, every president always met with Billy Graham, had to sit down with Barbara Walters.
Oh, Larry King. Being compared to Billy Graham and Barbara Walters. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm being serious because you are a great sports writer. And I grew up in Memphis, George Lapidus and Mike Fleming, golly, Ron Higgins did it for a long time. And then when you have those guys on your show, well, Mike and George are gone to heaven, but Ron Higgins, Buddy's a rock star to him. So when there are certain sports writers at each school, sometimes there's more than one, and Buddy's pointed this out, Florida had the largest media following of any team in the SEC.
On the road.
Like 35 or 40 or something like that. That's big time. But you got to get the coach that comes in there and embrace Florida for what Florida is all about. They love a coach that's got some swagger, like Steve Spurrier, like Urban Meyer. You get the right fit in there, and I don't know who it is, but I would reach. You know what? When times are tough, people will stick behind you if you have reached out to them and just embrace Gator Nation. Look what Charlie Pell did. He kind of woke everybody up. And you know what? Said if you live in this state or you love the Gators, whether you went to school here or not, we want you at the games. And
I remember in college. Wear your colors. You got them wearing their colors. They never wore their colors.
I remember him in college, man. Auburn played Florida. That 1983 game, 56 players, 27 on Auburn, 29 on Florida, went and played in the NFL that played in that game. You had, I think, the best backfields you've ever had. Neil Anderson out of Graceville, Florida, John L. Williams out of Palatka, Florida, and Lorenzo Hampton out of Miami. Quarterback Wayne Peace. Yeah. Was he from Winter Park or Winter Haven?
It was from Lakeland, Winter Haven.
Lakeland, yeah. Yeah, the Metroplex. But it was awesome.
You are a savant. Well, listen, so let's just wrap this up with a quickie. You got to get out of here, Rob. Let's get Rob One's predictions and your predictions, and I'll tell you mine. I made them last night on my show. Let's move forward, and then we'll say another word about our sponsor, Rocket Lanes, and wrap up this Friday, Halloween Eve. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I guess you can just call me a Gator homer, because I do believe in this team. I saw what they could do in Texas. They played a great game. Why? I don't know why they did then and why they didn't before. But I do believe Coach Billy G has got them motivated and believing again. I also believe that Coach G, as he said, opening up the playbook, spreading it out, and Spurrier Jr. and O'Hara and Callaway all doing their job of calling the plays, watching it from the booth for a couple of them, Spurrier on the sidelines with DJ. I do think this team is going to see how to make it win. They're going to give it 110%. So I'm going to be the homer that says I see the Gators at 31-28.
It's exactly the score I picked, but the other way, I picked 31-28 Georgia. Rob Brown, you with the Brown with the tiebreaker.
Well, I was on Lauren Meadows' show Tuesday night. I picked it, and I look at things like charting stocks. I got Florida winning 28-26 because, and Dave Bartu and Frank Duffy and Doug and Brendan and all of us and Brad Bellamy this morning on the show were talking about it. It's an easy game for Georgia to look past. And Dave Bartu pointed out, Georgia's defense is not a top-notch defense. And so the tough thing is, how many times have you seen a backup quarterback? Remember Matt Mock came off the bench when the throw-in Rastafarian, quarterback for LSU, Rohan Davey out of Hialeah, went down in an injury in 2001, and they beat LSU beat Tennessee. They thought they were going to the Rose Bowl. It's hard to figure out what a new coach, and this is the first time. Now, they're going to look at tape on Billy Gonzalez. I think the Gators win the game 28-26 because
there you go. Two out of three go with the Gators. Yeah. Amazing.
And I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it, but I could be wrong, but I'm sticking to it.
Now, we can't call you a homer.
That's right. I'm objective Oliver here.
He's got his hands full with Auburn and Memphis State right now. So.
Don't even get me started on the Tigers.
All right, I'll let you go. Thank you, Rob. Tell folks again about your show.
No, thank you so much, man, for letting me be on. We go Monday through Friday morning, 8 to 9 a.m. Central. Francis Wilton Martin's son, Brendan.
No, Wilton Francis.
Wilton Francis. Okay. Yeah, I love Brendan. That name, by the way. Yeah, but we got executive producer Brendan Martin. Unbelievable. Putting it out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And it's Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. Central, right here on this channel. Cover all the SEC. Bring on a lot of great guests, coaches, current, former players, whatever like that. But we touch all the schools. And then I can tell everybody, stay tuned to this channel because it's the best channel. You'll get the truth more than anything else. And so y'all have a great weekend. I will be watching somewhere, but I YouTube stream, so I guess I will have to look through the neighbors' blinds if they have the windows pulled up, but I'll be watching.
Great job, Rob. Thank you very much. Rob 2, Rob 1. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Rob 1, let's talk about Rocket Lanes again, our fine sponsors, the folks who make this possible. We love coming to you. We know it's a small audience. We think it will grow. We heard more and more people talk about watching the show. My partner, Rob Dodson, does a fantastic job and talk about the Gator Club too. And we got about 2 minutes to go.
All right. Well, Rocket Lanes is a host of the Panhandle Gator Club. We can come join fellow Gators and friends to watch the Gator games on one of their many TV screens in their upscale sports bar. But bring your kids because they have 24 bowling lanes. They have an 8,000 square foot roller skating rink. They have a 16,000 square foot arcade. So while you're watching the game and enjoying their upscale bar, the kids have a good time if they're not watching the game. So come get social at Rocket Lanes, 513 North Richard Jackson Boulevard, Panama City Beach, in the shops of Edgewater, across from Edgewater Beach Resort.
Terrific place, and we always join. We'll go out there again soon, and we're going to get together next week, talk about some things about this show and the future of this show and what we do here. Meanwhile, I want to tell folks about the importance of supporting GatorBaitMedia.com. What a week we've had. I got to give shout outs to my team, especially. That would be Brendan Martin and Rob Brown, Franz Beard. They put together the story last week. We broke the story about Lane Kiffin's back channel offer. And you don't get those stories every day. It was a great job of journalism. We're proud of it. They put it out there, and a lot of people say, oh, you're going to hurt your chances. I will say it again. It's not our job to seal the deal with Lane Kiffin. That's the University of Florida. It's our job to report what we can find out factually and put out there for you, the fans, because that's what true journalists do. Now, we're not the kind of guys that go put our name up on a podcast and get a couple of followers on Twitter, X, and call ourselves a media. We have credentials. We've done this a while, hopefully at the highest level, and we don't try to give you clickbait. One guy says, oh, it's just clickbait. That is an insult. It's not clickbait. We wouldn't try to get you on here. We want you to come and give you something that you didn't want. So, again, great job by the folks. Check it out, GatorBaitMedia.com, and I think you'll attest to it, Rob Dodson, that it's a great source for people who kind of want to know, what aggravates me about these sites? You go on and you try to get the story. You got to go through 9 clicks with all these commercials. You just click on the GatorBait thing, and you're a member, and you go right to the story, and you get to read it without interruption. We hope it can continue to do that, and we want to continue to do this show. We thank our sponsors. We encourage you. Rob, if people want to sponsor this program, how do they get in touch with you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is through my email, and the email is rambling4617 @gmail.com. So that's RAMBLING 4617 @gmail.com. So send me any suggestions. If you're interested in being a sponsor, let me know. I'll get back with you.
That's great. Now, so what are your plans for watching the game?
I'm actually the Panhandle Gator Club is a large area. So we go all the way from the Florida-Georgia border all the way down to Port St. Joe, almost Apalachicola, but not including Appalachia. That's a different county. So I'm going down to Port St. Joe at a place called the Haughty Heron, and we're going to sponsor a game watch down there and have some hot dogs and a giveaway. So I'll be down there sponsoring that game watch, while we also have our normal game watch at Rocket Lanes.
And we also want to know if you want to join the Gator Club, which you should do if you're a Gator. Gator Bait, and we're going to be doing more and more things with. We're going to have Franz Beard, his basketball book, which is coming out here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have signings around the state. And he had every step of the way with Todd Golden, called The Golden Season, is going to be coming out, and you can get special deals only through the Panhandle Gator Club, and save some money. We're going to have a big event at Spurrier's Ground Grill coming up soon for the women's basketball program, and Kelly's going to be there, and we're going to give some money. A large portion of the book sale, we're going to go to the women's basketball program. Rob, you got to support the Gators.
Yes, you do. And if you want more about the Panhandle Gator Club, you can find us on Facebook, and we have a website. Just look for Panhandle Gator Club.
We didn't do our logo. Where are you now? What about the Panhandle? And I had a thought this past couple of days. Mexico Beach was one of your trivia questions. You never got it on the air and it was a place where both Central and Eastern time zone. They have a spot there where you sit on one chair as a lifeguard, and the other side. And what was interesting and unfortunate was they were hit by a tornado a couple of days ago.
Just about on the time zone line. Went over what they call the El Governor Hotel, which was just rebuilt from the Hurricane Michael a few years ago. But it's an interesting point, as you just said. Gulf County is the only county in the state of Florida that has both Eastern and Central time zone.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the shipping industry. They wanted
Yeah.
Port St. Joe to stay in the Eastern time zone. So there's got a little finger that comes up. And at the end of the street, it's called Over Street there in Mexico Beach. It's Highway 386. At the end of that, where it hits the beach, the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, whatever you want to call it, there's a chair that two people can sit in. One's in the Eastern time zone and one's in the Central time zone at the same time.
You'll get that kind of stuff anyplace else. Great job, Rob. Appreciate it, buddy. See you in 2 weeks on this program, and check it out. Enjoy the game. All right.
All right, go Gators. All right. Thanks, buddy. Good show.